Viewers and listeners, welcome to the Mainstem Project. There is 3 factors I would like to present to you in this episode. And this is part of the introduction. First of all, why black people are being considered as the properties, the belongings, and the the possessions of the white people. White people think that they own black people. Let's say black people are still their slaves. That is one factor. And 2, why is it that any black person that will rise up to liberate black people from these white people that I'm talking about find it difficult and impossible? Musically, those who use music to attack white people or liberate black people are killed. Those who use politics, like the politicians, they are also either killed or overthrown. Now, why the third one? Why is white people capable and able to do that to us? That's what I'm going to let you know. White people uses 4 armed robbers and thieves. They are criminals. And you can also call them powers, if you like. Because these forces that they are using them spiritually. And these are the backbone, the strength and the power of white people. So, as I'm going to reveal this secret to you, if you are a black person and you want to rise up to liberate black people, unless you conquer and you defeat these 4 thieves and robbers. Oh yeah. Because these powers are thieves and robbers, that is why white people are stealing black people and are robbing we. Anything you see in Europe belongs to black people. They simply take the raw materials from here and change it, and it belongs to them. So if you are willing and you are ready, let us begin. Now, black people are black people and white people are white people. But if you will notice, as history tells us, white people had the guts to travel all the way from Europe to Africa to build castles in the coastal areas of Africa and entered into the mainland to abduct African children and sell them in their land into what they call slavery. Now, when you define slavery, slavery is simply when a person is captured and he doesn't have his own freedom. And those who capture that person claim them like their chattel or possessions, if you like, or belongings or property. How on earth can a human being from other nation come to another nation and possess these human beings and claim they belong to us? It is only possible because of 4 demonic powers that black people have not been able to identify them. And black people, some black people are serving them without noticing. These black people are feeding them without noticing them. This serving and the feeding, this is what I would like to explain. But before that, how many black people have risen on the face of this earth to liberate black people and have failed? Numerous. In fact, it is a taboo or an abomination for any white person, especially their government. In Britain, is the monarch or the royal family. And in America, it is their government. And in Europe, also, some of them is their government and their monarchs. They benefit from the Africans to the point that for any African nation to dream of rising up will not be possible to them. They will not allow that to happen. So that is why if you are an African, you will be allowed to have your own head of state or government or whatever. But what they will not allow you is for your government to make sure that nation that he or she rules become free economically, spiritually, and mentally. So now let's see what has happened to some of the black people who thought of liberating Africans. Let's start recently. We will start from the recent one to the later ones. There's this president, young president in Burkina Faso. His name is Thomas Sankara. He rose up to defend that country. And every African country have white people as their colonial masters. So when Sankara wake up, his colonial masters in France called him and said that it is not right for any of our colonies to liberate their people. Then Sankara said, "You are joking. As for me, I will liberate my people," which he started. And he did. On the process, they paid another Burkina Faso military man. According to history, this military man was even raised by Sankara's family members. You see, they took somebody very close. So, from the family, that's why Jesus said, "A man's enemies shall be those of his own household." They paid him and gave him all the access to overthrow Sankara. And so Sankara was overthrown by a black man, the black man was just there. But it was the colonial masters who did it. This comes back to what I was telling you. I said that black people have 3 problems with these white people. One is that the white people think they own black people. In fact, we are their property or belongings or possessions. So therefore, we have no right to decide what we want to be and how we want to lead our life. You see? And as I'm explaining to you, the second one is that it's a taboo, an abomination for any black person to rise up, to liberate Africa. So Sankara was overthrown. Now, let us take Mandela also. When the Mandela started to let the country that he came from, South Africa, he want to lead them into liberation, or he want to liberate them, they arrested him and jailed him. As a young man, at the age of 27 or so, they jailed him for so many years. After that, I think they jailed him for 27 years. Or, in his tender age, that he has the what you call the strength and energy to liberate his people, they kept him in custody till he became feeble. But you and me understand that because God has ordained at his old age, he still came to lead the nation. But the white people still remain in South Africa. Now, let's take Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah rose up to liberate Africa. Everybody witnessed in his days the work that he did. He was almost through, but the white people always and most of the time uses the same black people. They paid a Ghanaian soldier, and this soldier gathered his people and he overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. And the vision of Kwame Nkrumah about the African unity, when Kwame Nkrumah fell, then Europeans stole that idea, then they created European Union. You see? So they are thieves. Now, let us come to Sekou Touré. He also rose up to defend his country and Africa. And what happened to him? When he fell sick in his country, he was the one who would never, ever go to France. He doesn't have time with them. What happened to him? When he was sick, the French embassy and the rest organized. So they flew Sekou Touré to France, where they gave him bad injection in his sick bed top. Before we hear Sekou Touré is dead. Who again? We have Olympio of Togo, Fofo Bonin of Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, Haile Selassie of Italy, of Ethiopia. Name them. Now, in America, Luther Martin King Jr. rose up and they killed him to liberate the black people over there. Malcolm X tried and they overcame him also over there. Now, this is, let's say, politically. Musically, when most of them who could not get access to use politics to liberate Africans, but God gave them the talent also to use music. In the music scene and in the music world, black people are still being killed and destroyed the same way. Let us take Tupac and Biggie. Notorious Big or Biggie. Look at that. One of them controls the East Coast and the other controls the West Coast. United States is big, East and West. Look at how large the territory is. But God has placed one in the East and one in the West. Tupac and Biggie. What happened? They killed them. Why? Because Tupac and Biggie were making pop music or rap music bring monies to the coffers of black people. I want you to understand that all the war that white people are warring is economically. African liberty or African liberation of freedom means African economic freedom. And that's what they don't want. So they are using our economy. They are using our monies, our wealth, our riches to build empires. As far as even going to the space. And so these are some of the factors that they don't want any black person to talk about their wealth. Our wealth is ours, but we don't have rights to possess our raw materials, our minerals, oil, and the rest. No, they decide for us. So now, here comes Whitney Houston in America. And the rest, even take boxing. The strong boxers like Mike Tyson and the rest, they will just forge a crime against you and they will jail you. Now in the music scene still, in Jamaica, a popular talented musician called Ninja Man. He was the one driving, what do you call it, the reggae rap, which is called raga. A raga force. And there was economic breakthrough. What happened? They accused him of killing and they jailed him. Now, before Ninja Man will come from jail, he has to be at 75 years. He was 50 years or so and they jailed him 25 years. So he will come after 70, getting to 80. You see how they are destroying the talent of black people. And most of the Jamaican musicians, one of them recently, Merciless, he is going to perform somewhere, and where he's going to lodge, he has been lodging all the time. They poison him and they kill him. And so many Jamaican musicians. Now, we have the lucky ones are Steel Pulse, Burning Spear, Bonnie Wailer, even Bob Marley. They are legends still holds on. Viewers and listeners. Now, where we've reached is the main products. But before that, let me chip in this. We give glory to God, really and truly, for bringing Jesus to us. Because where I've reached, without Jesus, it would not have been possible to come and say what I'm coming to say. Now, the 4 criminals and the 4 robbers.